Training camp begins this week, baby. We are literally 24 hours away from the Eagles having to gather to start their campaign to become repeat Super Bowl champions. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to predict my 53-man roster as of now. Phillies lose 2 out of 3 to the Angels coming out of the All-Star break, but make a big free agent signing yesterday afternoon. We're going to talk Phillies as well. And Scottie Scheffler, the Open champion of the world. Trending in the AM, we're live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube and Twitter. You know the drill wherever you're watching. Hit that like button, hit that share button, and, of course, subscribe. We're starting today and this week at 552 subscribers. Can we get to 600 this week? I don't know. If you like, you share, and you subscribe, maybe you can do it. And also tell your friends, turn the radio off. Turn that nonsense off and turn YouTube up. And listen to me and all the other great content creators out there, guys. I'm Phil Stiefel. We got a jam-packed week, day, month, the rest of the year, because you know what? Today's the last day without football. Tomorrow, Eagles report to training camp. Wednesday, practices start. The defense of our Super Bowl title begins tomorrow. So, what are we going to do today? I'm going to give you some basic predictions on the 53-man roster, where I see them at this moment. A lot could change over the next month and a half, but where I see the predictions right now. Number 2, the poll question on YouTube right now. Will Andrew Mukuba, Eagles second-round pick, sign his rookie deal before the first practice Wednesday? Yes or no? He is one of 6 second-round picks to still not sign his contract. We're going to talk about that. Some interesting little nuggets about that I got to throw in there as well. Phillies lose 2 out of 3 to the Angels. Yay! Same old Phillies out of the All-Star break. Bryce Harper looks back, though, to full health and really good. And the Phillies signed David Robertson for the 14th time. I hear the rumor that they're going to bring back Pat Combs and Kyle Abbott and Wayne Gomes as well. So, yeah, the Phillies signed another reliever. Actually, all joking aside, much needed. So we got lots to talk about today, lots to get into. The comments are already blowing up. Good morning, Adam. How you doing? Phillies made their big move. I don't think David Robinson is their big move. I think there's a lot more moves to be made for David Robertson, or for the Phillies after David Robertson. I hope so. Eagles are in need of a defensive end is your title. Well, we're going to take a look at the Eagles 53-man roster as of this point in just a few minutes. So that's the content check right there. Good morning, little G. Hope you are well this morning also. The offseason is way too long in football. I don't know. I feel like the offseason, it's long, but there is no offseason. Because we go right from the Super Bowl, right into free agency, right into the draft, and then you get, OTAs and stuff. There's always football. I mean, while we haven't focused on football a lot over the last month or two, there's always been football to talk about every single day. But now the offseason's over. Now it's back to work. Now it's down to breaking down our Eagles. It's down to predicting what this team is going to look like. And I'm excited, I'm hyped, and I'm ready to roll with it. And I don't know about anybody else, but damn, it's exciting to have football back. You read my Happy Gilmore quote, Jack. Sorry. It's Monday morning. I got a case of the Mondays right now. My bad for missing it. That is a big thing this week. I'm going to write that down as a reminder. Happy Gilmore comes out this week. Happy Gilmore comes out this week. The movie we didn't know we needed. The movie we didn't know was being made. The movie that we're all hoping is as good as the first. I just hope Happy Gilmore, too, is not a complete and total utter failure. I really do. I hope it's fresh with some nostalgic moments in it. Really hoping for Happy Gilmore to be good. I really need Happy Gilmore to be good. I really, truly do. But we will see what happens with that. I think it's what comes out on the Thursday. Happy Gilmore. I think it's Thursday for Happy Gilmore. But we'll see. We will be watching it Wednesday or Thursday, whenever it is it comes out, and I will be breaking it down as soon as I can. There ain't no doubt about that at all. But let's start talking about it. Let's get into it. Let's get into the Eagles roster predictions, the 53-man roster predictions, and let's talk about Drew Mukuba and what's going on there, and what's going on with second-round picks in general. Now, I know a lot of the second-round picks got signed over the weekend as the dominoes start to fall, but Drew Mukuba still is one of the 6 second-round picks as of last night that hadn't signed. The last time there's a holdout of an Eagles draft pick, you have to go all the way back to 2011 when Deshaun Jackson held out for the first 11 days of training camp. That's how long it's been. Howie Roseman never lets this drag out this long. Landon Dickerson 4 years ago, he was the closest, and that was 2 days before camp. We're a day before camp starting now, 2 days before practice. Will Drew Mukuba get his deal done? The framework is there. Enough second-round picks are there where Howie should be able to go to Drew's people and be like, here's what the market says. This is what we're going to do. And it should be a clear-cut case, done, dried, signed, sealed, delivered today. And I hope it does get done. Because we don't need any drama. We don't need any holdouts. We don't need any issues here. We don't need people answering questions about contracts. That we need people answering questions on what they're going to do to get back to the Super Bowl in 2025. What they're going to do to repeat as Super Bowl champions, to repeat as division champions for the first time since 2004. That's what the question should be. Focusing on the fundamentals, getting everybody right, healthy, in shape, working on whatever new changes to the offense Kevin Patullo wants to make. That's what we've got to be focused in on. That's what we got to be looking at. Everybody's a little slow on a Monday morning, right? Good morning, Duck. How you doing? Hope you are well. Hope you had a great weekend. But will Drew Mukuba get his deal done? That's the question. So far, early voting, we're 4-2, yes to no's on the poll right now. Go get Fant. Yeah, Noah Fant was cut. Noah Fant was cut on yesterday afternoon by the Seattle. See, here's the thing, and we're going to get into my 53-man roster prediction right now. The Eagles do got Grant Calcaterra on his rookie deal still. They still got Dallas Goedert on one more year. Noah Fant's fairly young still. They also brought in Harrison Bryant and Kylan Granson. The Eagles got a lot of tight ends on the roster right now. I don't know if Noah Fant's on their cards right now. Now, would I be against them going out and getting him? Maybe not. But so right now, my predictions, and we're going to show them in a little bit, I got 4 tight ends making the roster right now based off of what is in camp right now. So I don't know if Noah Fant fits into the cards. I think they have bigger issues with safety and edge maybe at some point. So we'll see. Cowboys stink. Yeah, I saw a tweet this morning from Tyler. What's his name? Tyler Smith saying that the Cowboys are going to be Super Bowl champions. Yeah, not happening. Top of the morning to you, Brian O'Rourke. How you doing, my man? How about that Scottie Scheffler? Does he complete his career Grand Slam next year by winning the U.S. Open? Big question. How long does it take Scottie Scheffler? Golf is worse off because Scottie Scheffler is so damn good. There's my, just a masterful performance. And him and Hao Tong Lee, the new buddy cop drama that we didn't know we needed. Very interesting right there. Eagles need a tight end. I don't think they need a tight end for 2025. Do they need a tight end big picture long term? Absolutely. The long-term answer at tight end is not on this team right now. But I think the Eagles are perfectly fine at tight end because you've got Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith. Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, Granson, Bryant, that's good enough. The tight end they got are mid. Well, Dallas Goedert's a Pro Bowl level, all-pro level when healthy. It got banned because it was copyrighted issues. Training camp should be streamed. Abso-freaking-lutely. I talked about this last year on this show. Let me tell you something. If practices were live streamed, I know they wouldn't want to give away all that information. And Eagles reporters are good enough to record short videos, plays happening and all. Let me tell you something. If training camp practices were fully live streamed, dude, I'd be watching it 1,000% nonstop. There's literally no doubt I would watch 100% of every practice through and through. No doubt about it. Literally none. It would be such a great thing. And I suggested this. You're probably stealing my idea from last year. Training camps being streamed would be awesome, but they might not want everyone to see a few things. Exactly. And that's probably the thing. Maybe they should stream the first. Like the reporters, the beat reporters that are at practice are allowed to film and take pictures of like the first section of practice. And then they're not allowed to be even in. They're not allowed to record anything from the second portion of practice. And some practices are closed to the media completely. Judd's in the house this morning. Good morning to you, Judd. Hope you are well. I used to go to training camp every year when it was in Lehigh. The last time a Eagles second-round pick or a draft pick, period, hasn't been signed was when they were back up at Lehigh with Deshaun Jackson in 2011. I miss the excitement of the players going to camp, checking into the dorm rooms. But let's be honest. Going to a camp like that, going to a college dorm for camp is an old, outdated, antiquated philosophy. It's fun for the fans. Those players sleeping in dorm beds and, all that. It's, when you've got state-of-the-art facilities in South Philly with your stadium and the NovaCare complex, there's just no need for it anymore. It'd be cool if they opened up practice to the fans a little bit more often. But while it was cool as a kid, while it was cool, growing up, seeing that, I understand why they don't do it anymore. Camp access stream. They can shut it down for implementation, brother. Absolutely. And look, I think it would be a great idea. I do. It would keep the fans. Hell, I would even pay for it. I don't pay for streaming services anymore. No more streaming services. Let me tell you something. If there was like a $5 donation, $10 donation for training camp practices, you damn well believe, especially when it was going to Eagles Autism, I would 100% be purchasing that. It's always sunny. Well, they have the stadium practices for us fans, and they do that once a year. And that's more of a fan thing than a practice. They don't really truly practice. Adam went to training camp when he was at Westchester, got Jim McMahon autograph. That's awesome. Jim McMahon on the list of we got him too late kind of players, right? I'll have to work on a list for this week. One of my lists for this week. Westchester, Lehigh, all those things. Come on. I mean, it was fun. It was great. But there's a reason why they don't do it anymore. That's a great idea. Charity practice stream. Absolutely. 100%. Why not? I've been talking about this. I don't want to be a beat reporter. I don't want to be on the road all the time, right? I don't want to be on deadlines and having to be asking professional questions or anything like that. But you know what? The only reason why I'd want to be a beat reporter of the Eagles is so I can go to the practices and see what's going on. That'd be the only reason. Jim McMahon, most of us are pretty old, just so you know. I remember when Jim McMahon was an Eagles quarterback. It was something, right? We all thought that was going to be interesting. What is up, K1? Scottie Scheffler, your Open Champion of the Year. And I asked this question, K1. You like sarcasm. You like jokes. Give me the name of the newest buddy cop movie that's going to come out in 2028, starring Scottie Scheffler and Hao Tong Lee, because they're the new buddies, right? What was Iron Fist and Luke Cage, like superheroes for hire? Like, there's got to be some kind of a comic book movie made about Scottie Scheffler and Hao Tong Lee's new best friendship right there. Top 10 players Eagles got too late. Jim McMahon's one of them for sure. 100%. Bad quality sleep will get you hurt on the field. Absolutely. A lot of, this is the 5th training camp starting this week under Nick Sirianni here. And early on, we always criticized him for lighter practices, shorter practices, more rest days. Well, let's be honest. Since Nick Sirianni's taken over, we have been a relatively healthy team for the last 4 years. Why? Because Nick Sirianni's new advanced ways of doing things is working. Okay? Not sleeping in a dorm room bed when you're a 6'8", 390-pound Jordan Davis. Like seriously. So the college training camps are an old, outdated style. What up, Philly? What's up, mister? How you doing, my man? Hope you had a great weekend. Big Dom waved the green flag at the NASCAR race at Dover. You were there, Adam? So was Steven Fuentes. How about that? Rush Hour 4. I think they already did like Rush Hour 4, 5, 6, and 7 already. So it'd be like Rush Hour 14 with Scottie and Lee. Is it always sunny in Philly? It isn't. Not at all. Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee was one of Hannibal Smith's alter egos, just so you know. If you know, you know. But anyway, we've criticized for so long, and I think the results speak for it, that the way Nick Sirianni handles training camp, you're going to see over the next month and a half a bunch of 58-minute practices, 64-minute practices. You're not seeing 2-a-days. You're not seeing 2.5 hours of, just pad-on-pad hitting. And we used to call that soft. We used to call that not the way to go. Let me tell you something. Yeah, Adam, resting the starters in the preseason, it obviously works. Hence the fact that we've been to the playoffs 4 straight years under him. Hence we've been to 2 Super Bowls and now are defending champions. I think that the big story this training camp should be that Nick Sirianni does not get criticized one bit, no matter what. The Scottie kid, we'll put it on the list. I don't know if it's the best you could do. Did someone call? It's like, say his name, and he appears. There's Jason Lee. Good morning, Jason. Hope you are well. Hope you're having a great week, great summer so far. Will be another year of resting. It absolutely will be another year of resting starters. You will not see any of the starting offense line. You will not see Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown. And why would you? If the system that Nick Sirianni has put in place works, why would you change it? Now, there's an argument to be made. Maybe he has to change his message to the players. His motivational speeches might have to be tweaked a little bit, make sure to keep them hungry. But his process of getting there, to getting to week 1 healthy, to keeping them healthy for 18 weeks and getting them into the playoffs healthy, that process doesn't need to change. It's a proven working system. 4 years in the playoffs, 2 Super Bowls, and a championship. I mean, the process works. I mean, how many big-time injuries have we faced that have ended people's seasons? I mean, Nakobe Dean late last year. That was, week 16 or 17 when he got hurt? There was that. Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson got banged up in the playoffs, but they still played in the Super Bowl. I think the system is lined up, so we got to trust it. Not that you want to use the trust the process, line. That's basically what we got to do. Why would we see the starters? Did we see them last year? I mean, Nolan Smith was getting a lot of reps last year in the preseason, but he wasn't coming off of much in his rookie year. Okay? So you're not going to see any of the starting offensive line, which means you're not going to see Jalen Hurts, which means you're not going to see Saquon. If you're not going to have Jalen Hurts, why would you see AJ and Devontae Smith? You might see some Jahan Dotson. You'll see some Grant Calcaterra. You'll see a lot of Tanner McKee and Kyle McCord. Okay? Defensively, you're not going to see Carter. You're not going to see Davis or Smith. You might see some Jalen Hunt. You're not going to see Zach Bond. You'll see Trot Jr. You're not going to see Q or Coop. You're going to see some Keely Ringo, though. I guess Keely Ringo would be the main starter on defense that you'll see regularly. Everybody's in the Heezy. Is that what you say? Heezy. Steve Miller cancels his tour. Okay, I didn't even know they were on tour. You always need to evolve your process. Absolutely agree. And I think Nick Sirianni knows that. And I think Nick Sirianni has to evolve because Jalen Hurts keeps the main thing. We've seen from the ring ceremony, Jalen Hurts won't even put his Super Bowl championship ring, which let me tell you something, that thing is a badass looking ring with the wings popping out and everything, all the little subtle designs in it to honor certain things. Jalen Hurts won't wear it because he's keeping the main thing. He's already moved on trying to win it this year. But not every player is built like Jalen Hurts mentally. So he's going to have to keep some of these guys from getting too content. And I hope and I think this locker room is strong enough and smart enough to know that everybody's got to follow that thing. But he's going to have to keep them focused every day for the next, 6 months? 7 months. Super Bowl 60's 7 months away? I'm so excited to see McCord. I hope he balls. Well, we're going to put up my 53-man roster prediction here in a moment. Let me tell you something. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. I got Kyle McCord as my quarterback 3 on my right now, prognosis. My prediction, not Dorian Thompson-Robinson. That's what I got. Nick Sirianni has come a long way since that first press conference. Yes, he absolutely has. And I was still in my original podcast team, as a founding member of AAT Birds, Adam, at that point. And I said on that breaking news press conference that we should not overreact to it. Because, Nick Sirianni was an offensive coordinator, but not a play caller. How many times did he really speak to the media? It's a lot different being in Indy versus Philly. Like, all the things that he did wrong in that press conference was just from a lack of experience in front of the big-time microphones. It's really all it was. So I was not worried about that aspect of it at all. Now, I was curious whether he was the right hire. I don't think he was the guy I wanted. I don't remember who I even wanted back then. I know I didn't want McDaniels. I don't remember who I wanted in 2021 to be the Eagles head coach. But I didn't hate on him for having a bad press conference because I didn't think it was necessary to do that. And look, Nick Sirianni has evolved and come such a long way since that press conference in early 2021. Well, yeah, early-ish 2021. There should be no doubt on his ability to lead this team, whether he's calling the plays or the CEO style. There should be no doubt whatsoever anymore on Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, but we're not going to talk Jalen Hurts so much today. We're going to talk plenty of Jalen Hurts throughout training camp, I am sure. Those rings were pretty fire, though. Got to remind everybody how awesome those Eagles Super Bowl rings were. Just perfect. So where does this roster? So before I put up my Eagles 53-man roster prediction, if you haven't already, hit that like button. If you haven't already, share this show to one of your social media platforms. And, of course, please subscribe. Starting this week at 552 subscribers, I'd greatly, greatly appreciate if you did all that, guys. Like, share, subscribe, please. And here we go. We are going to put up, at this point, entering training camp, where I see the Eagles 53-man roster. All right, and you can see Anthony right at the top of it, quarterbacks. I've got 3. Oops, I gotta slide that a little bit. There we go. 53-man roster predictions, okay? I've got Hurts, I got McKee, and yes, I've got Kyle McCord at this point making the Eagles roster as one of their quarterbacks. Obviously, the running back Saquon and Will Shipley. So anybody you have a star next to on here is someone I think that's on a roster bubble to an extent. And the only reason why I have A.J. Dillon as a roster bubble is because we don't know how healthy he is. We don't know if he's even going to be able to play football. It's been, November of 2023, so 8 and 12. It's been 20 months since he's been on a football field. So we don't know if he's going to be able to play. Can I zoom in a little on that? I can. Problem is, if I zoom in too much, then it'll make other things. So now you can only see some of it now. Does that help a little bit better? I will try. I mean, I could zoom in a lot, but then you wouldn't be able to see the whole screen. So we could just focus in on offense a little bit here. Obviously, A.J. Brown. The big thing on the offense with my predictions is that I think they keep 4 tight ends and only 4 wide receivers coming out of training camp. And some will say, whoa, only 4 wide receivers? Howie Roseman has done this before. So what I do is I track every year. And look at this, 18 through 24. How many at every position? And if you notice something, in 2023, he kept 4 tight ends and four wide receivers only. So it is not something that he hasn't not done before. Now, I got Anais Smith right now on the roster and Johnny Wilson on the bench. Because Johnny Wilson is kind of like a wide receiver tight end hybrid. But you're already keeping 4 other tight ends. So that's why I've got it like that. The Eagles played in the final game of the 24 season. Cowboys haven't played a meaningful football game. Well, the Cowboys haven't played a meaningful football game in about 35 years, right? Isn't that the correct answer? The correct edit to your comment right there, mister? It's been about 35 years since they played anything meaningful. Got Tyler Smith out there saying, we're going to win the Super Bowl this year. You know, honestly, I'd want every player on my team saying that, whether we were good or bad. Now, early on, normally the Eagles keep 9 or 10 offensive linemen. I've got them keeping 11. And the reason being is because you got Cam Jurgens coming off of back surgery. You got Landon Dickerson coming off surgery. You got Lane Johnson, who's been missing a few games every single year over the last couple of years. He's getting up there in age. And Jordan Mailata even missed time last year. And you got Tyler Steen, who we don't know if he could start. So I think this will be the year they go a little heavy on the offensive line. Now, will Miles Hinton, Kendall Lamb, and Matt Pryor be those guys? I don't know. You can go down here. These are guys that could beat them out. Holland Pierce, Cam Williams, Marcus Tate, Darian Kennard. All guys that could win one of those offensive line roster spots for sure. Am I crazy to think 4 wide receivers and 11 offensive linemen? Trying to find someone with 3 separate Phillies tenures. Call-ups and downs don't count. Yeah, Randy Reddy was here twice only, I think. I know he played for 75 teams. I saw you comment that on YouTube last night. I don't know. I haven't had time to really research it. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Now, David Robertson, I'm not going to bash the addition. It's a good addition. He's going to go somewhere. The thing that people forget, though, they think about David Robertson the last 2 times in Philly. We forget that David Robertson was pitching against the Phillies in the World Series in 2009. This boy's been in MLB for almost 18 years now. It's crazy how long he's been in. He's 40 years old. Cowboys well-rested for the season opener. Yes, they are well-rested for the season opener, mister. And I do have some concerns about that season opener. I do. We'll get into that as the offseason or as training camp progresses. I'm glad to see the fullback coming back. Yes, Ben Van Summeren will make the team as the fullback. Yes, absolutely. Love to see the fullback back. But first, just on the offense, how do we feel about how I have the offense listed? It would be awesome if Kenyon Green could be this year's Mekhi Becton. Well, for that to happen, K1, Tyler Steen's going to have to be really bad. Tyler Steen got beat out by Becton last year. But Tyler Steen was injured a lot in camp last year. So was Becton a little bit. Now, a lot of people are saying that Kenyon Green might not even make the roster. I think he's 100% a lock to make the roster, hence no star next to his name, because they're going to have they traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for him. So they're not going to give up on that investment. They're going to put him in Stoutland U and see what he can do. Stoutland, that is, with Green. He didn't get fired. He resigned. There's a difference. Zero confidence in Steen. See, the thing with Steen, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong here, K1, and I'm sure you will, is that Tyler Steen's not size-wise the prototypical Eagles offensive lineman, right? He's a little smaller than what we like. Tyler Steen, if Kenyon Green beats out Tyler Steen, then you got to think the Eagles trying to trade him or move on from him. Because this is it. This is his third year now, Tyler Steen. He's been in Stoutland U for several years now. He better win that job, or that's a big detriment to. If you can't get a job when you're given multiple tries in Stoutland University, you got a problem. Yes, Eagles still have one of the greatest rosters in history. They do. That starting guard position is Steen's to lose. He was not bad last season. He was not bad at all. He actually filled in very well when given the opportunity. So I think Tyler Steen I would say at this point, he's like a 98% lock to be the starter week 1. 97, I put it at that high. Getting beat out by Becton doesn't mean you are a slacker, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, Mekhi Becton was a first-round talent. Mekhi Becton needed that rejuvenation. Needed to get away from a crappy organization and come here. I mean, you look at who's the guy we signed? Is it Kendall Lamb was with the Dolphins, saying that the Eagles are already such a different organization. He has been beaten out every year, and that is a concern. But I think this is the year. It's got. I feel like I'm saying it's going to be the year, so I feel like it has to be the year. If he doesn't, then what is he? Then he's a bust. Steen has everything to prove this year. Shit or get off the pot. Good morning, Big Al. 1,000% accurate. It is. It's put up or shut up time for Tyler Steen. Now, as Duck said, he was good last year when he filled in. It's just Mekhi Becton was playing otherworldly kind of level last year, which was kind of shot. Here's the thing. You can look at it two different ways. He got beat out because someone was playing otherworldly, but he got beat out by a guy that never played the position before. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. There's two different ways to look at that. K1 says, Steen was a left tackle in high school and college. We're trying to make him a right guard, and he just isn't it. Well, sometimes tackles don't really translate into the NFL because of their size. And again, he is a little smaller. We'll see. I hope you're wrong, and I hope I'm right. I don't want you guys to be wrong normally, but I want you to be wrong here. So I think it would be a big miss if he can't do it. He's good enough to be a backup or play every day. It's a fair question. Hopefully Goddard can stay healthy somehow. Well, that's a big question mark right there, Adam. The dude hasn't stayed healthy his entire career. You get what you get out of Dallas Goedert. You hope he plays enough during the regular season and is healthy for the playoffs. If you can get 13 or 14 games from Dallas Goedert and have him 100% for the playoffs, to me, that's good enough. And that's also why I've got them keeping 4 tight ends. Now, last year, they only kept 2 tight ends coming out of training camp. But this year, I think they're going to, with the additions of Bryant and Granson, I really think they're going to try. They're going to try to keep 4. Steen would start anywhere else. Think about that. He could be a bencher on this team. That's fair to say, too. I think on a middling team, he's 100% a starter. But that's not. We said the same thing about Andre Dillard, and he was a starter, but not very good when he went to Tennessee. Pressure on. If Steen mess up, he will get super contract from mid-team. That is true. They always give Stoutland U graduates big contracts, whether they're good or not. I think blank stink, but who are we on the other safeties? Well, we're going to get into the defense in a second here. It's not like changing your nick on YouTube every day. What? Changing your nick? I don't understand that. Steen isn't tough enough to play guard. Well, we're going to learn a lot. If we start to see, mister, it was about only 2 or 3 days into training camp last year where we started to see the reports of Becton getting right guard 1 reps, with the team. If we get any reports of anybody, Green or anybody, getting right guard reps ahead of him, it's not good. And I always like to think about the mental side of things with athletes. If he starts getting demoted in camp again this year, you're risking really ruin the guy's confidence completely. Now, whether that's good or not, whatever. Yeah, I don't get what K1 said. I didn't understand that one. But that's where I got it. I think Matt Pryor does make the team. I know some people got him on the fence with him, but because of where he stands, the ability for him to play multiple positions and his experience level, there's not a lot of experience on the depth charts. Okay, you can be an enigma. That's fine. That means we haven't gained anymore. So please, guys, like, share, subscribe. We are at 552. I want it to be higher. And Goddard plays to make sure the transition to a new tight end happens. Watch his opportunities start to level off as the season goes on. See, the thing is, we don't have that next tight end here on the team. Granson and Bryant are journeymen. Now, Mista said, or somebody said earlier, go get Noah Fant, who was cut. I don't think they'll do that. I think you're going to see the Eagles transition over the next couple years into Harrison Bryant, Kylan Granson type tight ends, where they get 2 or 3 average guys or young guys that are just there. I know that tight end is an important part of our offense, but with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Saquon Barkley, you could put okay tight ends in there and have success with them. You're not going to see a superstar Dallas Goedert tight end because there's a lot of money to be spent. We're already paying a lot to our offense. The defense is going to get expensive. You're going to see a lot of 1-year, $2 million contracts to tight ends over the next couple of years. There's no transition. It's just going to be whoever they can find. Plug and play in this offense. K1, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Nobody understands the damn words that are coming out of your mouth. I'm still baking in the glory of Scottie Scheffler. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. Scottie Scheffler is ruining golf. Why? Because he's too damn good. That was the most boring final round. Because there's no chance that Scottie was losing yesterday. 0 chance that Scottie was losing. There was 0 chance that the Phillies were winning yesterday, and 0 chance that Scottie was losing yesterday. And him and Haotong Li, it's great. Love the buddiness there between the two of them. And, yeah. What was I going to say? I was going to make another joke there, but I forget what it was going to be. Edward Nigma? What? I don't even know what that is. But anyway, let's move on to my predictions at this point on the defense here, okay? We'll slide down here a little bit. Defensive tackle, I think, is pretty much set. Defensive edge, there's nobody. Like, if you look down here at the roster bubble, Thomas Booker might make the team. If you trim somewhere else, he could make the team. Edge, Patrick Johnson is the only edge that could beat any of these guys out that is on the roster right now. Linebackers are pretty much set. Cornerbacks first 3 are set. I think there's a slim chance that Adoree Jackson's on the bubble. I think Eli Ricks is on the bubble. Mac McWilliams, as the rookie, will make the team. Safeties right now, I got 4. I do have Andre Sam and Lewis Sign as bubble guys. Maybe they go to 5 cornerbacks. Then they bring in a 5th safety. But this is where I've got the defensive roster right now. I think the only questions is who starts, Keely Ringo or somebody else, Sidney Brown or Drew Mukuba, whenever Drew Mukuba signs. And there is if you look at special teams, I do have Avery Williams at this point making the roster. He's got to be healthy. He's got to show that he can be healthy. But I think just like fullback coming back, having a return specialist like Avery Williams is the way to go. Scottie just chunked that bunger shot at 8 to make things interesting. Was that where he had the double bogey? Yeah. Norm Macdonald joke at ESPYs about runners up to Tiger Woods was funny. It was. Anything Norm Macdonald said was funny. Riddler, Gov name in Batman Forever. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I would destroy Scottie on a golf course, but I'm retired. Not a golf course, a golf course. Gotcha. Scottie Scheffler, man. He's just, I mean, when you look at athletes in all sports over the last 10, 15 years, I don't know if there's an athlete in sports, period, as dominant as Scottie's been over the last 4. Linebackers are pretty much set. Let's take some time to appreciate that statement. That is a great point, Nooms. Fantastic point. I mean, I think there'd be if Nakobe Dean was healthy, there'd be an argument to be made of what they do at linebacker because then maybe they have too many. But yeah, I mean, when was the last time we came into training camp? The only question seriously about the linebackers is will Jahad Campbell be ready for week 1 or not? That's the only question. That's it. It's crazy. Like, linebacker being a position of importance and being valued like it has in Philadelphia now for the last year or so, it's crazy. It's amazing. I love to say it. I do. You know, I always said when I was younger, if I would have played football, I would have played linebacker. It was always my favorite position on the field for me and my size and stuff like that. Ringo is the starter on the outside at this point. I think that is probably the most likely job of starting 22 that is up for grabs at this point. I think Adoree Jackson could, in theory, beat him out. But it's going to be a tough battle. Now, I saw some people bashing Keely Ringo on Twitter yesterday, and I try to remind them, I mean, the kid's 23 years old. He's been in the league for 3 years, but he's only 23. He's been still learning and growing. I think they have expectations for Ringo. I hope they do. Because if Ringo can't go and Adoree Jackson can't go, then maybe you slide Coop outside and then you put the rookie Mac Williams. I don't know. You need him to start. You need him to do that. Yeah, the linebacker thing is great. If Ricks is still on the roster in September, something has gone wrong. Yeah, Ricks is on the bubble for me. I would have said Ricks is not on the roster, but then people reminded me how young he is, his contract situation, how cheap he is. He's a special teams player. I think that you would need an Andre Sam or a Lewis Cine to steal Eli Ricks' roster spot. You really do. But as of now, he makes the roster. I've said this. I've brought this up on the show plenty of times. When Ricks and Ringo were brought in here in the same offseason, one was drafted, one was a undrafted free agent. I forget which one was which. There were expectations for both of them. And Ringo has been able to get on the field. Ricks last year, wasn't Ricks a healthy scratch half the time last year? Maybe more than half the time. He didn't even dress on game day. It tells you what they think of him. Depending on how Trotter and Mondon do, Dean may not get his contract extended. Absolutely. And it breaks my heart because I'm a huge Nakobe Dean fan, the person and the player. And Trot, if Campbell's not ready, Trot's going to get that opportunity. And, I mean, I remember from OTAs, they're already calling Mondon a special teams ace on this team. I don't think Dean plays this year. Whether he's given it another shot next year here in Philly, I don't know. But I don't think Nakobe Dean plays. Now, I know people are seeing workout videos like, oh, this guy looks healthy and ready to roll. Workout videos are different than getting on the field and playing football. People got to remember that. Did we get a long snapper in yet? We got Charlie Hewlett. I forget where he played last, but yeah, he's listed on there. He's on the 53-man roster. Charlie Hewlett is our new long snapper. You can always make friends from football. Yeah, I fear Dean won't be his old self. Not only will he not be his old self, I don't know if he plays. I mean, that's a devastating injury he sustained there. Some people, it ends their careers. The dude from the 49ers that they cut like a month or two ago. I mean, he had the injury 18 months ago and he still hasn't gotten on the field yet. So anyone saying Nakobe Dean's going to play this year is just crazy. It is a shame, though. I mean, let's be honest. Zach Bond had a phenomenal year last year at linebacker. All-pro. Should have been defensive player of the year. I get it. But secretly, Nakobe Dean was having almost as good of a year before the injury. Nakobe Dean was leading the team in tackles at one point last year. Nakobe Dean was playing great football last year before that injury. Playing linebacker isn't fun. You spend most of the time getting play calls from the coach and getting everyone lined up properly. Defense is the most fun. Yeah, I just felt like I would have made a good middle linebacker. I really did. Anyone know if any Tuesday or Wednesday games? Nah, not yet. I like Keely Ringo as a special teams ace. Ringo, not Ricks, Ringo. Well, I hate to break it to you. He's your starting outside corner in nickel and dime formations unless something drastic goes wrong, Nooms. And that's all. I mean, I hope nothing goes wrong. I hope Ringo starts. But I'm smart enough to quarterback a D. Yeah, absolutely. People would listen to me. I could lead. Absolutely. And then down here at the bottom, I've got the guys that are on the bubble. We've kind of covered most of these names. I think the most shocking would be that I have Johnny Wilson and Thomas Booker on the outside looking in. But that right there is my 53-man roster for the Philadelphia Eagles entering this training camp. That's where I've got it right now. I'm smart. I know things. I got passed over. You're my kid brother. You think I want you taking care of me? My Fredo accent isn't very good. You're my kid brother. I was passed over. Do the Eagles still need edge? See, I don't know. I think it's an interest. I know you keep saying this for the last 2 months, but now here we are at the start of camp, and I look at Smith, Hunt, Ojulari, Uche, and where's Rick today? Because Rick's a huge Antoine Powell-Ryland Jr. fan. And I look at those 5 guys and also understand that Jahad Campbell can play on the outside as well, and so can Zach Bond as well, and so can Jalen Carter play on the outside as well, and so can Ty Robinson as well. I don't know. The question is, can Ojulari and Uche be strong rotational players on the defensive line? Can they stay on the field to make that impact? And if Ojulari has the type of season I think he's capable of in this defense, then we don't need edge. But if Ojulari can't adjust to the Fangio system, kind of like Bryce Huff did, then maybe we've got a problem. Defense isn't ish compared to those Amazon orders. He got it. Gotcha. Haven't had an Amazon order in like 6 weeks. That's how Pop wanted it. Yeah. That's how Pop wanted it. That was the most Fredo impersonation I've heard in a while. Yeah. I'm sorry. My Fredo is not very good. My Alfredo is very good, but my Fredo isn't very good. Roster so stacked probably won't matter, but a normal team, you're screwed. What? It's summer. That is what camp is for. It's true. He sounded more like Tyson. I sound more like Mike Tyson there. I don't know. Anyway, is there anything on this roster that could shock us? Is there any kind of a cut that, like, would a Tyler Steen cut even possibly happen? I doubt it. You know, Ricks isn't a shocker if he got cut. I don't think that's the thing. There might be a few position battles. Starting safety. Who's going to start till Campbell's ready? Steen, Ringo. There are a couple maybe battles going on entering training camp. But when was the last time we were this 100% locked in on a roster at this point of the season? What's the biggest battle? Who's quarterback 3? Kyle McCord or Dorian Thompson-Robinson? Is that really the biggest camp battle that's going on right now? I mean, there's an argument made that that's the case. And it's crazy. I love to see this. So which means that all we're really doing in training camp is installing the game plans. Like, we're not doing battles. We're working on fundamentals. We're getting in shape. We're instilling the game plans. There's very little battles and evaluation that needs to go on. You're teaching the rookies and the young guys. But our 21, we'll say, of the 22 starters on offense and defense are locked into place. I think one of the fun storylines or underrated storylines or the biggest battles for camp aren't roster spots. Who is going to take over as the leaders? Offensively, it's still Jalen Hurts, and we know who the offensive leaders are. Lane Johnson, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley, Jordan Mailata. On defense, you lost Brandon Graham and Darius Slay and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, 2 captains and a guy that was a vocal leader on the defense. Who is going to be the captains on defense? Jalen Carter? Probably not, according to Ed Kratz a few weeks ago when he was on the show. Zach Bond, I expect to be a leader. I would think that Reed Blankenship could be a leader, but the fact that he still doesn't have a contract extension, how many guys on the last year of their deal really are captains. So who are the captains of the defense this year? There are a few offensive line battles, safety battles for starting positions. Exactly. There's no battles, period. There's offensive line battles for backup spots, but not starters. Pretty hard to argue with the starting 22. We can nitpick with the depth. And you know what's crazy, K1? Just like Noom's comment earlier about the linebackers. It's crazy to be in this position with the starting 22. Is Quinion Mitchell a captain? When I had Ed Kratz on a couple weeks ago, a month ago, he said Cooper DeJean, not Quinion Mitchell, if a cornerback took a captain spot, would be the guy. Because of how much the team, listens to him, respects him, and how he motivates and fires. He pointed his finger to Cooper DeJean taking over Darius Slay's leadership role, not Quinion Mitchell. Just like he pointed to Jordan Davis, not Jalen Carter, taking over a role as a captain. And I trust Ed Kratz. Ed Kratz is a smart guy. He's at all the practices and whatnot. But I fully expect Zach Bond to be that guy as well. Zach Bond now has proven what he is. But I think there's a story. I mean, Zach Bond last year, was he a one-hit wonder? Probably not. Hopefully not. But he's not going to surprise anybody on the opposing team this year. Everybody knows, and every offense is going to be like, where's Zach Bond? There he is. They go, there's Jalen Carter, there's Zach Bond. Is that an underrated conversation? I'm writing that down. Is Zach Bond up for a sophomore slump, maybe? You can get old pretty fast. The grind continues. Absolutely. You got to get in shape. You got to get physically ready. We're going to pull the 53-man roster chart down. I just shared the show out of a bunch. Hey, muchas gracias, Adam. Much, much, much appreciated. Always appreciate it. Cooper could be a leader, young but built like a vet. He plays like a vet. Absolutely. Nor Q or DeJean gets to see this year. Q is just more quiet than DeJean. But they both have the intensity. Like, this is literally the biggest battle of training camp is who gets to see on defense. Like, seriously. You have too many people that deserve to see on offense. Hurts, Lane, AJ, Saquon. But who gets it on defense? I think Zach Bond's a lock for it. And that's only one. Knowing where Bond is opens up for Campbell and Hunt. Yeah, absolutely. I got you on that. I just think it's a fair question, isn't it? Zach Bond had more tackles last year than he did his entire career combined. Zach Bond has been in the league for how many years, and last year was his first year? Is nobody asking the question of can Zach Bond do it again, and why? I don't want it to be a question. I don't think it's a question. But could it be a question that we have to have answered? Is there a scenario where that's a problem or a question or something? I'm just asking. If they got tape on Bond and Cooper, Fangio will have to get creative so they don't know where they are going to be on the field. Absolutely. Absolutely agree with that, especially on Zach Bond. Zach Bond was a shock last year, right? Zach Bond came out of nowhere last year. In the playoffs, they made sure they knew where Bond was, and did that help any of them? No, absolutely agree. And yes, with Dean, and Dean wasn't even out there. Nakobe Dean wasn't out there in the playoffs. Look, I'm not thinking there's a problem with Zach Bond. I'm presenting something that just popped up randomly in my head because it's something I don't think anybody said. We should thank the Saints every day for not starting Bond all those years. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I mean, didn't we have a one-hit wonder on this team last year? Bryce Huff came off his one great year in 4 years, got a big contract in Philly, and was a bust. So we've seen one-hit wonders in Philadelphia before. We are 1,000% sure Zach Bond is not a one-hit wonder. Why? It could happen. Not saying it's going to happen, but it definitely could happen. I think you have to be asking that question to almost anyone. Can they repeat their stuff? Literally, Big Al, every single player had amazing years last year. Everybody's got to repeat it. And I think that is a fair way to approach it. 100%. How could Zach fail with this D-line in front of him? I agree. I mean, it's an amazing defensive line. You've got arguably a player in Jalen Carter that will become known as the number one defensive player in football really damn soon here, if not already. He's already in the conversation for top 5 defensive players in football. You got Jordan Davis, if stays in shape, can be a great elite defensive tackle. You can't forget about the Vanilla Gorilla. A one-hit wonder. I mean, you have to have a hit to be a one-hit wonder. I haven't had a hit yet, okay? I've never been successful to then have my downfall, okay? You got to be successful to have a failure, okay? Bond plays with his mind, not just his body. He's at the point in his career where his mental ability to understand the game matches with his. I think it's very fair. Very, very fair comment. Very strong statement right there. And a great reason why he won't have a down year. For sure. I think the Wisconsin Badgers, I thank the Wisconsin Badgers for making sure Bond flew under the radar with T.J. Edwards, Van Ginkel, and T.J. Watt being around him. I couldn't even told you it was a Wisconsin Badger. But sure. He played with all those guys in the same defense. Remember a couple, back to your linebacker comment from before news. Remember a couple years ago when we were upset that Howie didn't retain T.J. Edwards? And Zaire White or whatever his name was? Now we don't have any worries. We got Zach Bond, Jahad Campbell, Trot Jr., Nakobe Dean if he ever gets healthy, Smile Mondon. Like, we've kind of made linebackers important and cool again in Philadelphia. For sure. Guys, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. Please share this out on social media somewhere. And, of course, subscribe. Would greatly, greatly appreciate it. We only got like 15 likes on this video so far. 14 votes on our poll. Will Drew Mukuba sign his rookie deal before the first practice on Wednesday? Yes or no? We're at 64% yes, 36% no. Again, just to repeat these notes, the last time a rookie was not signed at the start of training camp was all the way back in the Lehigh days. Deshaun Jackson in 2011, he missed 11 days of practice. The closest we came in recent memory was Landon Dickerson 4 years ago. It was 2 days before camp when Landon Dickerson signed. Otherwise, everybody's been signed, and pretty quickly. So, will Drew Mukuba get his contract signed, and when's it? Is it going to happen today? I hope it does. How did anyone score on that Badgers defense? I don't know. It's a lot of good names. The Vanilla Gorilla is my favorite nickname for sure on the Eagles right now. And that ain't even close to a conversation. It's not. I mean, that's how cool of a name is the Vanilla Gorilla. It's a great name. Fantastic nickname. And I, as you saw, and I'll put it back up here, as you see here on this, I got him locked in as one of the 4 over Booker, Thomas Booker. He is going to make the roster, and he's going to play meaningful snaps this year for the Eagles defense. 100% sure of that. Mukuba needs a cool nickname. I just think his name, Mukuba, is cool. It just sounds cool. Say, Mukuba with the big hit. Mukuba lays him out. Mukuba with the interception. Can he go all the way? Actually, maybe it doesn't sound as cool when you start putting it in plays like that. Mukuba. What? No. I don't know. I got to get to know Drew Mukuba on the field. You can't just come up with a nickname. You got to think. You got to watch them play on the field. See what they're capable of on the field. I guess there's a camp battle. Can Drew Mukuba, if he signs his rookie contract, and doesn't miss any of the training camp, can he beat out Sidney Brown for the starting safety spot? Does Drew Mukuba and Sidney Brown and what the Eagles maybe think of them dictate why maybe Reed Blankenship hasn't gotten a contract extension yet? Is he on the fence of being here long term? I don't think he's a roster spot issue this year for Reed Blankenship, but is there something there? When we first drafted Drew Mukuba, my initial reaction was he was going to be starting over Sidney Brown. Because Sidney Brown, just like Keely Ringo, actually more than Keely Ringo, hasn't shown much. You've just been Mukuba'd. It sounds good, but it doesn't sound good. Say it out loud. Say it out loud a few times, Big Al. You've just been Mukuba'd. Nah, it doesn't do it. But when he was drafted, my initial reaction was he is going to beat out Sidney Brown. Now, everything the Eagles have said is that Sidney Brown's the guy, but his job, like, you can read between it. They're like, well, we like Sidney. He's the guy, but, and then you see ESPN put Drew Mukuba in the starting spot on the depth chart over Sidney Brown. I would say that I guess at this point, that's the closest thing to a training camp battle for a starting spot on this team. Not counting the starting linebacker if Jahad Campbell's not ready, which I guess is Trott Jr., but I guess maybe Smile Mondon could beat him out. Ringo is solid as a cornerback when he had chances. Brown just hasn't had enough snaps to learn. Brown's been hampered by injuries. Brown's been hampered by the fact that he hasn't learned how to throttle down. Brown's been hampered by a lot. And remember, Sidney Brown is also not a Vic Fangio guy. It wasn't his choice. He was here before Vic Fangio. A lot of the guys that get playing time are guys that Vic Fangio handpicks out. You got to believe that Drew Mukuba was handpicked by Vic Fangio over Malachi Starks or some of the other safeties. There was one other safety I liked. What was his name? That was there in the second round. But, you know, Vic Fangio's imprints are all over this defense. And one of the guys that wasn't a Vic Fangio guy, Huff, is gone. Now, same thing. Sidney Brown, could he be on the way out? I think it's a very interesting and fair question to make. Can Sidney Brown? You look at the type of players. You got Cooper DeJean. He could play outside. He could play the slot. He could play safety. Drew Mukuba can play safety. That's what he is. But he could play the slot. He could play inside the box. He could do multiple things. You look at all the defensive edges that we've got. They can all drop into coverage. They can all rush. They can all play the run or getting better at it. Every player on this Eagles defense has very flexible skill sets and the ability to play multiple positions. Positionless football, kind of. Sidney Brown's just not that. All energy without much direction, absolutely. Yeah, I know Nolan Smith wasn't a Fangio guy. Jalen Carter wasn't a Fangio guy. Jordan Davis wasn't a Fangio guy, so to speak. But their skill sets seem to fit. Well, Nolan Smith's skill set seemed to fit. Nolan Smith played into the fourth quarter preseason games last year to understand it, to understand the system, okay? And Jalen Carter's not a Fangio guy, but Jalen Carter's just Jalen Carter, so he doesn't have to be a Fangio guy. Curious. George Karlaftis signed a big contract extension this weekend. Kind of setting the tone of what maybe Nolan Smith might be looking at. Now, he's not at George Karlaftis' production yet, but this year could be it. Nolan Smith will be eligible for his extension next year. What are realistic expectations for Nolan Smith in 2025? Brown needs to be on the coach's hip like a boil and listen and learn. He would learn faster and get the coaches to see his work that gets his opportunities. Absolutely. Sidney Brown's going to be a guy. Sidney Brown is in the Nolan Smith realm this year, right? He's listed as some expect him to start right now. Some don't. But he's a guy that will be playing a lot in the preseason. He is going to be on the field in preseason game 1 into the fourth quarter probably. You need to get as many reps with him in game action to see what he has learned. Whether he's on their hips or not, whether he's the boil, whether he's that rash on Vic Fangio's ass or not, I don't know. But we can learn about that by the way he performs in these preseason games. And just so you guys know, I will be live August 7th for the first preseason game. We are going to go live for every game this year, okay, including preseason games. We'll be doing watch parties every single game here. When Howie started out, there were just way too many square pegs and round holes like Huff. Absolutely. And Howie Roseman's learned, you got to give the coaches what they need to succeed. Bryce Huff wasn't it. Now, we think Ojulari and Uche are. I mean, Ojulari and Uche can't be any worse. You know what Bryce Huff was last year, right? So, it is what it is. But Sidney Brown needs to be on the field in preseason. A lot. Keely Ringo needs to be on it a little bit. Jelix Hunt needs to be on the field a decent amount. Jelix Hunt has a lot of growth still to have in his game. But what's a realistic expectation for Nolan Smith this year? What is it? Sometimes I say things, I got to write them down just so I know. Absolutely, I can't wait. Can't wait to go live, watch the game on my TV here, chat it up with everybody every single game this year. But in his defense, could Howie really be held accountable when Juan Castillo was the defensive mind being consulted? Oh, man, Juan Castillo. What? Every time somebody brings up Juan Castillo, it just makes my stomach turn. Dean is in such a weird position. He's had one good year and gets the system, but his injury might hamper him getting back there on a contract year. Yeah. Like, I said it early in the offseason that I was worried that Nakobe Dean would force it and try to come back too soon, maybe re-injure himself or something like that. Nakobe Dean is in one shitty-ass situation. He really is. If I was Howie, I would try to get him an extension right now. Be like, yo, Nakobe, we like you as a player. We want you on this team. But with the injury, we can't commit to you long-term till we see your recovery. Can we get a 1 year added onto your contract? We'll just renegotiate you. Yeah, you're getting your money this year. It's going to be a light contract next year, but then you prove yourself, and then we see. That if I was Howie Roseman, I would at the very least be talking to Nakobe Dean's people now about getting 1 year tacked onto his rookie deal so that he doesn't feel the pressure to come back so quickly. So he doesn't feel the pressure to need to force things this year. I don't see how Nakobe is on this team next year under any circumstances. Let's talk it out. John Campbell and Zach Bond are here. They're your inside linebackers, basically. But John Campbell does have a lot of experience playing on they've already talked about him playing that Micah Parsons role. So you can have a scenario where you have three linebackers, like them all on the field at the same time. Zach Bond could play outside as well. We don't have a huge amount of depth on the outside. I could see a scenario. It's an unlikely scenario, K1, and it breaks my heart. It's an unlikely scenario. But it's a scenario where I could see it happening. Like I said, if you can convince him now, look, you don't have to worry about playing this year. Here's an extra year for you to figure it out, to get right and to get healthy. And then we'll worry about next year. Super Bowl ring in hand, a few million in pocket. What a shitty situation. Yeah, exactly. What a terrible situation for them all, right? It is what it is. We're going to the stages of grief, but we'll get to acceptance eventually. Look, have you accepted Kenny Gainwell's departure yet? If you haven't accepted Kenny Gainwell's departure, I can't accept Nakobe Dean being off this team next year. But anyway. I don't want to say there's no chance. It's a highly unlikely. 1 to 100. 1 being absolutely gone, 100 being 100% on the team next year. I'd put you at 10. I'll go 10 on a scale of 1 to 100 that he's here next year. So I don't want to say completely 0 at this point. But we'll see. And also, I mean, obviously, you can overreact. Like, everybody loves to overreact to workout videos, especially in the NBA. But the workout videos look like he's getting healthy. You've already accepted Kenny G in Pittsburgh. Have you bought a Kenny G Pittsburgh Steelers jersey? That's the true question. You have to accept that Mukuba has played his last snap as an Eagle. I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible. Okay? Guys, if you haven't already, please like this video. Please share this video, and please subscribe. We're up to 16 votes on the poll right now. We're at 62% say yes, Drew Mukuba will have his contract signed before the first practice on Wednesday. 38% say no, he will not. And that breaks my heart. I want to see him here for the first practice. I want to see him ready to roll. I want to see him out there doing what he's got to do. We're up to 16 likes on the video as well. So, guys, please keep hitting those buttons. We got to get to 600 subscribers this week. That is the goal. I'm going to be very disappointed if we don't hit that goal this week. So that's 48 subscribers I want to find this week. So, guys, I need you all to hit those buttons, please. If I do some web scraping, I think K1 brings up stages of grief about 78.4%. Yeah, he does. He does. I didn't even bring him up this time. I brought him up, and I ruined it. 15 likes, 16 likes, something like that. It's always wherever. But, guys, please hit those buttons. I'd greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. So then, if Nakobe Dean's not here, well, hold on, let me rephrase this. Backtrack. Does what Smile Mondin does this camp and this season also affect that? Smile Mondin is what some reporters and some people that study college tape, if he's what they say he is, that also adds to the conversation that Nakobe Dean won't be here, because then you've got him as well. It also depends on what Trotter Jr. is capable of in the absence of Jahad Campbell, if there is a Jahad Campbell absence to start the year. So we seem set at linebacker, but there is that question of when Jahad Campbell will get on the field as a regular contributor on this defense. And that all can open up the door for maybe Nakobe Dean coming back, if that way makes sense. Good morning, Steven Fuentes. Campbell, Dean, and a few other Eagles were at the Dover Raceway yesterday for Start Your Engines. Even at NASCAR, you hear the Eagles chants. I love it. I love it. See, Steven, you were there. Adam was there. A lot of people were there. Not me, though. I don't really like watching people drive circles for 17 hours straight. But you're a weird guy like that. Who knew Steven Fuentes is a soccer fan, a golf fan, a NASCAR fan, and a cricket fan all rolled into one? We thought he was an Eagles fan, but really he likes all the other sports instead. He thinks he's trendy by being into all the other sports, but really he's just Steven Fuentes. Skipping, watching golf to watch NASCAR breaks my heart, okay? Happy Gilmore, too. We will, is it Friday? I thought it was Thursday, but Friday. We will then next Monday be breaking down Happy Gilmore 2 on this show. And Overreaction Monday will either be Happy Gilmore 2 was awful or Happy Gilmore 2 was the greatest of all time. Okay? And I am hoping so hard that Happy Gilmore 2 is a great movie and it's funny. I really am. He's a Renaissance man, Fuentes. Yeah. Steven Fuentes is worldly sportsman. Yes, he likes it all. He Shooter want to go to yeah. Hey Shooter, want to go to Sizzler? Dude, Sizzler was great back in the day. Just so you know. Dude, when I was a kid, there was a Sizzler right there in Ridley by the I think it was by the library back in the late 80s, early 90s. Go get the Sizzler buffet. For some reason, I remember them having killer wings on their buffet back then. It was such a treat. It was like a big time family event when we got to go to the Sizzler buffet back in the late 80s, early 90s in Ridley. I think there was a Ponderosa right next to it too. All they do is turn left. I know. What kind of skill set is that? Love Sizzler so much. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What was a better reference in a movie? The Sizzler's reference in Happy Gilmore or the Applebee's reference in Ricky Bobby? I'm not sure. I don't know. For birthday dinners, we always went to the Bennigan's in Springfield because they had the Cadillac table in the back, a.k.a. the big super round table in the back. We had a big family. So for birthdays, we'd go to Bennigan's. For other family events, we'd go to Sizzler. Just so you know. That was the way it was. Was it it was by the library, right? I think it was by the library on McDade Boulevard. If you're going to call you, but if you come around here, I'm going to call you. In Delaware, the wings were all. I just remember the wings being the big deal there. We go into Sizzler in White Men Can't Jump. That's right. It was in White Men Can't Jump too. I forgot about that. At least that was a two-time movie reference right there. I did have the final round on my phone at the tailgate, but the open was over. It was. I said it yesterday. I said it on Saturday night or Sunday morning on Twitter, and I thought it was funny, and no one really reacted to it, Steven. That the Open Championships was a lot like Live Golf, over after 3 rounds. I really thought that was a creative tweet, but no one else found it so much, but whatever. It was so anticlimactic. Even with his double bogey. We all knew it was over, right? And I said this to start the show. Is there a more dominant athlete currently in sports than Scottie Scheffler? We're taking all sports into account. I mean, the guy is literally the most dominant athlete in sports right now. I don't know if tennis, I don't know if there's a Djokovic out there anymore, dominant athlete out there in tennis anymore, or Rafael Nadal or Roger Federer. I don't think anyone in tennis is that level yet or anymore. I mean, I guess maybe Aaron Judge, maybe Zach Wheeler, not Joel Embiid. Maybe Jalen Hurts is on that level. Bazoo knew that a strong open. I might point out he did. He had a Bazaden who kind of a week. Let me guess. All you can eat night at the Sizzler. Ghostbusters. So Sizzler now has been in. We found 3 movies that Sizzlers has been in. I don't remember it from Ghostbusters 2. I won't lie. Ghostbusters 1 was way better than Ghostbusters 2. The dancing Statue of Liberty was just hilarious to me. Has there been a restaurant referenced more than Sizzlers? I'm writing that down. Gilmore, Ghostbusters. What was the other one that I forgot about right there? Hold on. White Men Can't Jump. Interesting all the references we get there. It was a good reference. It's a good pull by him. Will Scheffler end up in Tiger Woods' league by the time he retires? I don't think so because of 2 reasons, Adam. It took him so long to get to this level. You got to remember, he didn't have a single win in his first 70 starts. Okay? Tiger was winning games, winning tournaments in his first 70, right? And I don't think Scottie Scheffler is going to play golf into his 40s. Like mid-40s. Like, I kind of feel like Scottie Scheffler is just going to be a guy that rides off on the side. He's said it many times. All he cares about is faith. He cares about God, Texas, and family, and then golf. So, could he win 14? That would be 10 more. 10 more majors. Say he wins 1.5 a year. 1 year, 2 the next. So, let's say he plays to 40. So, that's 11 years to win 14 majors. He could absolutely do that. Or to win 10 more. That's 1 a year. He can absolutely do it. But will he win 80 golf tournaments in his career, or 89 or whatever it is to pass Tiger? I doubt that. No, I can easily see Scottie Scheffler. What's Tiger Woods' record? I'm going to write this down because it's a great question for Fairway tomorrow. Tiger weeks number 1. What was Tiger Woods' longest stretch as the number 1 golfer in the world? I know Scottie's been number 1 for several years straight now. Maybe I could definitely see Scottie holding on to the number 1 ranking longer than Tiger in a consecutive, not overall, consecutive. That I could see. Actually, I definitely could see that. I think that's a great question right there. Another great question with Scottie Scheffler is, will he win the U.S. Open to complete his Grand Slam, and how long? Will he win it next year? Will he win it in 2 years at Pebble Beach? If you ask Phil Mickelson, he'll probably never do it. But that's because Phil Mickelson's a grumpy old man. But yeah, Scottie Scheffler is the most dominant athlete in sports today. And I don't even think it's close. Scottie will be able to end up eating at the same table as Tiger, but won't be in the conversation. 280 weeks in a row at number one for Tiger. So it's 281 divided by 52 weeks. That's like, 5 years and change straight? So he's going to have to hold on to the number one ranking for what? Another 2 or 3 years, which he easily could do. I can 100% see. I can 100% see Scottie Scheffler breaking that. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to look this up after the show. It'll be a good Fairway to Heaven poll question for later. Yes, I said poll. Guys, we're coming up to the final 10 minutes. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you haven't already, share this out and tell somebody to subscribe to the channel. And, of course, subscribe. And vote on our poll question. Will Andrew Mukuba sign his rookie deal before the first practice on Wednesday? Yes or no? We're at 62 yes, 38% no. Guys, final 10 minutes. We got a lot going on this week. We are now 10 days away from the MLB trade deadline. The Phillies made the big move of adding David Robertson for the third time to the team over the weekend, signing the free agent 60-year-old pitcher. And Nooms asked, we can't figure it out, has there anybody else had 3 separate tenures with the Phillies? I don't know. Phillies lose 2 out of 3 this weekend. We barely touched on this disastrous Phillies weekend. One good thing came out of this weekend. Bryce Harper's back to swinging like an MVP. But outside of that, the Phillies were complete and total dumpster fire this weekend. Hal Tong is coming for Scottie Squirrel number 1. Yes, no. Hal Tong Lee and Scottie Scheffler are going to be the new superheroes for hire. They're going to have they're going to be the new Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker. Absolutely say it. I want a Netflix series on those two. 1,000%. Solving crimes and winning golf tournaments. You solve the crimes late at night in between, and you show up. You can even work in Scottie Scheffler getting arrested there somehow. We need another batter, too, and a bullpen pitcher. Yeah, absolutely. And now Alec Bohm back on the injured list. Bryson Stott's still struggling. You still got Max Kepler out there every other game. You still need to add 1, maybe 2 bats. The lineup after Nick Castellanos is just horrendous right now. 1 through 4, fine. Maybe 5 when JT plays. But the rest of it's just dreadful right now. And yeah, David Robertson cannot be the biggest addition to the bullpen. He just can't. That would be a massive, massive disappointment for the Phillies if that is the best he does. Ryan Rothstein just posted on Twitter, futures on DraftKings. Phillies to win the World Series are 9-1. Eagles to win the Super Bowl are 7-1. Sixers to win the finals, 30-1. That's an awful number. And Flyers to win the Cup, 150-1. Interesting. I was just checking on Twitter to see if anything new popped up about anything on Drew Mukuba or the Phillies. And that's the best thing I came up with there. I don't know. The Phillies, what should have been great coming out of the All-Star break, a good sense of and good feeling coming out of the All-Star break. I feel depressed about the Phillies coming out of the All-Star break and how it went. I really, truly do. I really do. We have also gone over my 53-man roster prediction. Here it is one final time if anybody didn't get to see it earlier. This is where I'm at right now. This obviously will change over the next 6 weeks, several times probably. But that's where I'm at with my 53-man roster prediction. Yeah, 150-1 for the Flyers? Sure. I'd rather drop. If you have a $5 bet, would you rather bet it on the Flyers winning the Cup at, what did I say, 150-1? Or the Sixers 30-1? I would throw that on the Flyers, absolutely. I wonder if Dombrowski does know he doesn't have to wait until the actual trade deadline. I mean, that's just not his MO. I don't think he does know that. That's why he's Dombrowski. I'm telling you, if Dave Dombrowski does not make... See, here's the thing, Steven. First off, I'll get to the other thing. If you listen to John Middleton's comments on Friday, I think it was Friday, maybe it was Saturday, I think it was Friday, doesn't sound like the Phillies are going to be trading their top prospects, which means we're going to get another Austin Hayes bat, and that's it. And that's scary. If you go back and listen to John Middleton's comments, Dave Dombrowski ain't trading anybody or anything significant. Let me tell you something. If he goes out and shits the bed at the deadline, the Phillies fall short again, you know what's going to happen? Dave Dombrowski's going to lose his job, and he better. I wonder if Dave is going to give up top prospects with the team being so down, 2021 in their last 41. I mean, it's basically what we did last year, right? We were really great in the first half, and we were a 500 team in the second half. Then fell flat in the playoffs. Dave Dombrowski, here's another way to look at it. I say if they fall flat, Dave Dombrowski's fired for sure, right? What if that's not the case? If they fall short, Dave Dombrowski fires Rob Thompson and gets another year. What if Dave Dombrowski is in the same boat as Daryl Morey, where we talked at the end of the Sixers season that Daryl Morey doesn't feel any pressure to succeed because his boss, Josh Harris, has given him carte blanche. He's fine, whatever. Just keep the team profitable. Maybe John Middleton has told Dave Dombrowski, "What this year is not your last, no matter what." That's right. I didn't watch a TNA Slammiversary last night. I would not. Who would pay for a pay-per-view, especially a TNA? But I saw the highlights. Looked like a pretty good pay-per-view. The Hardys are the champs, for sure. It's 1999 again. The Hardys are the champs. A little disappointed in AJ Styles' appearance, from what I read. The ego of GMs around sports and their run-it-back mentality really does prevent them from being trading for a big name because they think their roster is good enough. Yeah, because they don't want to admit they're wrong. So that's the difference between Howie Roseman and these other guys. Howie Roseman's been demoted before. Howie Roseman's been told you're a failure before. And what did Howie Roseman do? Howie Roseman learned from his mistakes and has fixed his mistakes. Isn't afraid to make the changes. Dave Dombrowski, Daryl Morey, they're content because their owners are content. I bet Dave gets Robertson back, then get another retread player. Yeah, I mean, well, we're getting Robertson back. He is back. And Robertson's costing a lot. Because we're at the top end of the luxury tax threshold, his prorated salary for the rest of the year is like $5.5 million, but it's going to cost the Phillies like $12 million because they got to pay 110% tax on bringing David Robertson in. A guy you could have signed at the beginning of the year or 2-3 months ago. Ridiculous. Redunculous. Terrible. It is what it is. We've got a jam-packed show. We've covered a lot of Eagles, a little bit of Phillies. We've covered a lot of Sizzlers references. And tomorrow, the Eagles report to training camp. I'm going to try to come up with tomorrow's topic, the answer to tomorrow's topic first, before I come up with the topic. What will Nick Sirianni first say to the team? What does Nick Sirianni have to say to the Philadelphia Eagles to kick off training camp tomorrow? What's the message and tone he's got to set, and how does he do it? It's an interesting one for me. I wish I was a fly in the room for the first team meeting tomorrow to know exactly what he says to the players. Be interesting. Phillies play tonight. They start a 3-game series with the Red Sox. Good. Who cares? I won't be watching. Well, I'll have it on. Maybe a little bit. But with that being said, I think it's time to wrap this show up today. It's been a jam-packed show. This 90 minutes just flew on by. So if you haven't already, there's that button right there. Hit that like button, right? Hit that share button. And find me some subscribers, please, people. Let's go. Got to get this number up. Come on. It's almost the end of July, guys. Let's go. Did we just get a 17th vote? Yeah, Andrew Mukuba signing. We'll find out. I hope he signs today. I do not want that distraction hanging over the Eagles' head that their rookie second-round pick is not in camp. Don't want that distraction. I want full steam ahead. That's right, full steam ahead. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Eric, you're coming in the final 20 seconds. Sorry. Thank you. But gosh, thank you very much, Adam. Muchas gracias. With that being said, guys, it's time to say goodbye to all you friends and family. See you guys tomorrow with another episode of Trend in the AM. Go Birds. Bubbles up.